Hello. Hello. How's it going? We're just waiting for BDELL and Gia to come on in, and we'll begin shortly. Hello. Hello, guys. Come on in. Come on in. Hello.
Hey. Hey.
Oh, I can't hear you. Hold on.
Can you hear me now?
I sure can. You
You see me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. See.
Oh, yeah, I can see you too. Can you see me?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. I was like, please no.
Hey, everyone. Hey, everybody.
Yes. How you doing? How you feeling?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
Good, good, good to hear. I'm doing well.
I'm checking because I always end up being too close to the camera, and I'll just turn it down. That's fine.
I hear you. Oh man, I hear you. I know mine. Well, I try not to be too. Well, I just need a new thing altogether.
Yeah.
Because mine,
I
I
guess.
did fix the other one because I broke the other one. I melted it.
Understood. Understood.
I'm trying to add myself. Oh, where do I go? Let me see.
Yeah, I think that's okay.
Let me see. Okay, I sent you an invite. See if it'll let you. Now, usually I'll see your name pop up, and it's not.
I'm trying to add myself to join, but I don't know where to go. I only know how to do it on this one. I can't do it from the computer, so I don't know if he's on a phone, but it's the bottom left corner. It's like a little person.
Okay, I sent an invite. If not, just exit out and come back in, and hopefully it'll pop up, and then I can send you an invite again. Hopefully that works. I'm on the. Oh, he's on the computer.
Ah, see, can't help. I could never get it to work on the computer. And I think that's the issue he's probably running into now.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Oh, you're not on the computer?
No, not me. I'm on a cell phone. I can't do it on the computer. It's just easier, sorry, to do it from my cell phone on the computer. I've never been able to do it on the computer.
Let's see. Are you able to do it on your phone right
Yeah.
now?
Oh, Brandel, yeah.
Yes, to see if he may be able to try it on his phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna try that. Okay. Coolios. Let me look for my. I had a couple questions on here. I don't know where it went. In the meantime. Hello, everyone. Those who are just coming in. We're just waiting for BDELL, and he is getting on his phone, and we'll get started shortly. Dang, I had questions in this notebook somewhere, and I accidentally closed it.
You have some time to get it. Don't worry.
I mean, I remember them. I was looking at questions, but I did like to again. I think we got it. Oh no, Castle. Oh, where'd he go? Oh, there we go. Okay, I think we got it.
Awesome.
There we go.
How you doing?
Hey.
Hello. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
Good. Well, glad to have you here. Thank you so much for. Yes, absolutely. Thank you for saying yes. So, yeah, let's go ahead and get into it, man. For one, let's go. Can you go ahead and tell us who you are? You know, I think most people know who you are.
Well,
But for those who don't.
Yeah.
my name is Bright Rice Bay. I'm part of the Moorish community. I talk about like eschatology, metaphysics, breaking down biblical context, just a multitude of things that goes on with consciousness and things of that nature.
Wonderful. Awesome. I'm so excited to have you on because I know Kai has been raving, and I went and checked you out myself, and I was like, you know what? I get it. You know what I mean? So I'm really excited to have you on tonight. Can you tell us a little bit about, you know, what started you on this path of knowledge? Because that's how I look at you. You know, when I was trying to, because it doesn't, none of your social pages have a specific title or something, right?
Yes.
So I was like, where does he kind of fit? Like, so what started you on this knowledge route of seeking knowledge and then turning around and teaching knowledge?
Well, I've been pretty much tapped into the information since I was like in high school. It was just one of those things where I was just sitting on information, and it was just time to start putting it out. You know, if, you know, according to everything that's going on right now, it's the right time to putting out the education. So that's pretty much was the motivation behind it. So pretty much was tapped into Dr. York's work and Norbert Ali. I've been studying this stuff since I was like a freshman in high school. So
wonderful, awesome, yeah. Awesome. So you jump started well before a lot of us.
Ahead of the game.
So, amazing. That's really, you know, high school. You think 17, 18, 16, around them ages. Wish, you know, I'd had that opportunity to have some of this information then. You know what I mean? So that's amazing that you tap in and then turn around and make the decision to show and teach other people. I guess my next question I want to ask, and I think I also have a similar question. We want to go into exactly, if you can explain what the Anunnaki is, and I guess break it down as simply as possible. You know,
okay.
For those who are just tapping in.
Well, from a simplistic point of view, the Anunnaki is basically the personification of the Neteru when you're talking about ancient Kemet or you're talking about the Elohim in the Bible. They're basically a multitude of beings that come from a different star system, which is the 19th galaxy. You go in the Bible, it tells you that the heavens in the Orion. So that's comprised of 7 different star constellations where you get the term seventh heaven from. So with that being said, you know, people really just have a misconception about what the Anunnaki is because they think it's just based on the context of westernized monotheistic religious systems. So they don't understand that these beings are actually extraterrestrial because they're beyond the magnetosphere of the planet.
Understood. Yeah, I see that there's a lot of confusion, and I think that's what's kept me. I'm gonna be all the way honest with you. When it comes to Anunnaki stuff, I am like, I don't know. Like, asking about chakras, I got you, boo.
You're right. You know, myself too. I think that, well, the first time I heard of the Anunnaki was when I was still going through the whole Hebrew Israelite phase of my life.
Too.
Right? And I was really interested in learning about it until they were talking about the Bible and like this, you know, certain where it originated and stuff like that. I was like, oh, I'm not ready for that. I was scared. and I turned the other way
And
because I wasn't ready.
I mean, like I said, it depends on the mythology, because you really got to get into breaking down etymology of the words to understand the diametrical difference between who's who and what's what. So this plays a part in spirituality, because spirituality is all about not being tricked.
Yeah.
So if you don't have the ability to decipher who the enemy is, just based upon the mythology of certain contexts of Sumerian context, uh, the emerald tablets, the holy tablets, they're there for a reason, and it is to help you to find the inception points of who the true enemy is and who the true Lord is.
Understood.
So it really plays a part of, you know, the as far as like the unity conscious aspect.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Understood.
Yeah.
So is there like, because you know how there are, because you know, for one, there's a lot of people who believe that there's, you know, good Anunnaki and bad Anunnaki or whatever, or there's some that think that the Anunnaki are just simply the fallen angels. Now, what is your perspective on that?
Well, the fact of the matter is, when you're talking about the 200 fallen angels, you got to go to the book of Enoch, which was written in 15 BC.
Yeah.
The book of Enoch tells you about the cherubim who was casted down, and those cherubim are basically your emulations of a draconian race that went against the order of Anu. So when you get to the Sumerian tablets, they tell you about who Anu is. He is the true Most High. There's a delineation between God and the Most High. God and the Most High are two different entities. So when people be like, well, God did this for me, you praying to something else. So the real translation of the real supreme being is actually Elion, Elion El, or where you get the term Elion. That's where that comes from. So Anu, he is basically the supreme architect of the universe. So when you look at the nomenclature title of Anunnaki, it means those sent by Anu to Ki. Ki means Kai, and Kai is planet Earth, which is Tiamat. So when these beings, they was casted down for going against the order of Anu, those are your 200 fallen angels, or your cherubim in the Bible. And when they came down, they made it with the daughters of men, who is the Canaanite. And the Canaanite is comprised of the 13 bloodlines of your so-called Illuminati that is running the European Union, which is why you got the Israel and Palestine war going on right now. So it basically plays a part. So you have good Anunnaki, which is basically the seeds of Enki. When you look at the word Enki, En means Lord and Ki means Kai. So he's actually the Lord of planet Earth, meaning that those seeds are the indigenous people who basically have birthright to the planet through sovereignty. So this is where the Moorish and the Native American aspect comes into play. So the monotheistic religion aspect was coming from the cherubim who came down and made it with the daughters of men, because they are the ones who created monotheistic religion that took you out of your sovereign capacity. Because when you go to the G3526 Strong Concordance, Christian translates to the word black. So when you calling yourself a Christian, you're actually calling yourself a black person, because there's no nationality behind that, because the church and the state is not separate, because they're connected by canon laws, and canon laws is the foundation of ecclesiastical law. So that's so religion in itself is a soul trap.
Understood.
So
got it.
So you're really not supposed to be having no veneration, anything that's connected to the three-dimensional world. You're supposed to be operating from a place of 0-point energy to where you can connect with your oversoul. So I tell people this all the time. It's one of those things where sometimes you got to use the matrix in order to get out.
Yeah.
So you got to build your own tranquility based upon the incentives of the world in order to, exclude yourself out, basically.
Got it.
Yeah.
So going back to you saying that calling on, using the term God is basically, that's a whole nother deity, or that's a whole nother being or entity or whatever,
I
is
explain
it
that.
safe to, oh yeah, go ahead and explain it. Yes, please. That would be
God is also equated to Goma Ars Dabar, which is a draconian entity, and it's under draconian law. When you're talking about governmental ordinance departments, that's connected to guns, oil, and drugs, which is ran by the governmental system of the European Union. So that's the delineation between God and the Most High. So when you praying to God, you're actually praying to a draconian race and a draconian government. When you praying to the Most High, you're praying to Anu. So that's the
okay. That makes
Understand.
sense.
So, like I said, it depends on mythology. Anu is connected to Sumerian mythology. Elyon is connected to Islam, and then you got Eli or Elo that's connected to your biblical scripture. Those are the real titles of the Most High, or Theos, where you get the term Thanos from when you're talking about Marvel comics and stuff.
Yep.
They all know because I forgot his name. The guy that used to make all the comic books and stuff. He used to go to Africa and he used to get his edification from priests, and he
I
would
did hear
take
about that.
edification and put it in the movies.
I think I heard that from what? There's another guy. His name was like Ambassador Michael something.
Oh,
and
yeah.
he was talking about how like they would take basically the stories of the Black Panther from, there was basically real stories that had happened in Africa. But speaking of Africa, what do you is there a correlation, or is there like between the Dogon tribe and the Anunnaki?
Yeah, because those are the aquatic beings that came down also, because they're actually for some of the first beings that was on this planet first, because planet Earth was a water planet. And time period it was called Eridu. And I think you translate Eridu in the cuneiform language, I think it means blue planet or water planet or something like that. I'm not sure. But yeah, a lot of to do with the seeds of Enki as well. So that's why, according to that mythology, they used to the the malevolent side of the Dogon is connected to Dagon. So the Dagon is actually the veneration of the fish god when you're talking about the Vatican Church. The Vatican Church is what puts you under subjugation through a political level, through admiralty law and through maritime law.
Yep. That's true.
And then
That is so true.
So speaking of that, you know how we talk about these 7 years of tribulation and stuff like that. I know that there was a video that you kind of had touched on some of those things. Can you go ahead and kind of go over that for us?
Well, the reason I say that we in a 7-year tribulation period is because they, according to some of Dr. York's publications, he talks about how the dome, which is basically the encapsulation of the firmament, is supposed to be opening up in 2030. So when you have that open vortex, that's when your real sun, the spiritual sun that's outside of the dome and the magnetosphere, is supposed to raise up the vibrational frequency of the planet as you're going through a magnetic potion. So right now the planet is going through a cosmic reset, and the cosmic reset is basically the foundation of the cosmic pendulum. So the reason that we're in a reset, because everything is, as far as the Metatronic overlay, the fixed position reality that we're living in, it has basically reached this purification period. So that's how you know that you're at the end of a system, when the only thing, when people start to venerate things that actually goes against nature, and they think it's a form of progressiveness, when really it's a form of it's like a demonic energy behind it. So just think,
over the last couple of years, we've seen a lot of that. A lot.
Like people saying, like, transgenderism, that's like a false sense of equality. You know what I'm saying? So where you have to support everything, but spirituality is also about having boundaries. You're not supposed to accept anything just because humanity wants to have a veneration for it through organizations and government and things of that nature.
Understand.
So that's why we in this 7-year tribulation period. You got the crash of the dollar going on, because we never had a dollar collapse. I think all throughout history we had 218 fiat currencies all throughout history, and they all failed. So the money in itself is connected to this whole de facto corporation that's running the system. So you got the money starting to fall off, then you got the vibrational frequency of the planet starting to rise up, and the spike in the Schumann resonance. So you got all types of stuff that's going on that lets you know that we in the 7-year tribulation period.
Yeah, definitely.
And plus the White House and everything is closed down too. The government is actually closed down. It's been closed down.
Been close.
So that's
I've heard that. That I've heard.
Yeah, they're at Castle Rock Studios, acting like they at the White House. The White House got barbed wire fence around it. So a lot of stuff that's taking place right now is one of those things where you have to have the spiritual eye to decipher what's going on.
Yeah.
Or you're gonna caught back into the technology. So this is why they hitting black people with, oh, you want to get you got to get reparations. That's another way to get you connected right back to the de facto corporation.
Yeah, and that's true, because I think about it. It's just like, if we talk about spirituality and abundance and stuff, but we always equate that to what they're giving us. And so to me, that I never entirely understood it, because I feel like it just keeps us in this loop. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I think a lot, what I try to do specifically, and right, wrong, I don't know, but with everything that's happening, it's all vies for energy, right? It's to keep us locked in, like you said, keep us engaged in the matrix, so to speak. So unsubscribe. Like, don't watch the news. Don't keep up with this. You might see things here and there. Of course, we're on social media. We're gonna see certain things, but don't energetically engage too much. Maintain your own peace. Maintain your own spiritual safe haven, so to speak, and work on just this connection more so than a whole lot of happening on. That's what I try to do. Not, so what other tips would you give other people who are, who would like to not be, so held, I guess, within this system, or trying to get out of the system of this matrix, so to speak? I know you said that there's a very big importance of the solar flares right now, and X, power. And I want you to actually get into that if you can.
Yeah, me too.
What?
To X?
I didn't hear what you said.
The esoteric power of X, the X, the solar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, the reason I was getting touching in on that, because the X over the planet, you got the solar eclipse on my birthday. That is going to be the inception point of judgment of the system. So that's going to be the last annular solar eclipse for, I think, for the rest of this decade. I'm not sure. Yeah. We'll have another one that actually puts an X over the planet in 2024 on April 8th. And that solar eclipse goes through 7 cities called Jerusalem, or Salem, which is the suffix of the word Jerusalem. So that's the thing that's going to be taking place as far as judgment. So that's why I tell people all the time, if you have a emotional connection to these politicians, to, system, as far as celebrities, you're going to fall when the system falls.
Yeah. They've been, really pulling on us, because we lack emotional intelligence, and they can pull us which way. They can have us do it. They've been controlling us by the way of our emotions, and us not, understanding our own emotions. So.
Time. Every major situation that's happened over the last couple of years was for that purpose, to draw in the energy. Even the thing recently with the submarine, that was to pull energy as well too. A lot of people got emotionally invested, and while I was sorry for what was happening from
if it happened,
I couldn't engage, or the girl or the woman who faked her kidnap, don't engage, don't hope you're okay.
Well, because you don't even know if it's real. At this point, I don't know if it's real.
You don't know what's real, what's not. So you just don't engage,
Yeah, most definitely. Like I said, you're supposed to be using your emotions as a navigation system to decipher what's what. You know what I'm saying? To decipher who the enemy is.
Yeah.
Understood.
Yeah.
Understood. Go ahead.
Go ahead,
guys.
I wanted to know, if you can break down, on a metaphysical level, a Kundalini awakening.
Well, okay. First of all, people have to go through a process of connecting with the Zohar body. The Zohar body is basically connected to the Oversoul, which is connected to your energetic morphic field. So you got to go through your shadow self And there's 3 different principles in order to tap into that energy. You got to go through the path of Nasut, where you become a neophyte, which puts you in alignment to becoming a adept. When you're on the path of Malakut, which is the path of the middle way, to where it creates an alignment for you to tap in to be a master. So when you master yourself, as far as like emotional energy and things of that nature, that's when you can tap in, you know, to the fact that you can deal with the shadow self. So you got to deal with that before you can even talk about like raising your Kundalini energy and stuff like that. So if you still connected to a form of emotionalism because you have an attachment to the 3-dimensional construct, it's going to be hard for you to reap the benefits of the Christ energy. And the Christ energy is actually the spirit of Melchizedek. So when you're talking about the return of the Christ, you're not actually talking about a return of a so-called Jesus. You're actually talking about the return of a consciousness. So that's the difference between the two. So people who are stuck in monotheistic religions, they don't understand the metaphysical aspects of it and the esoteric aspect of it. So it's also dealing with the body. So it's connected to your 7 energy cortexes, because a lot of people think, you know, they're going to reap the benefits of having a Christ consciousnus because it's all connected to a dietary system. You can't raise your vibrational frequency if your endocrine system is out of alignment. You got the thymus gland, the hypothalamus gland, and the thyroid gland, which is all connected to your chakra system. So if the chakra system is out of alignment, how the fuck you think you're gonna be reaching a Christ consciousness? Because you still having an emotional attachment. People still eating seafood boils. They still eating triple cheeseburgers and stuff. How you gonna tap into that energy if you still out here eating like that?
You know, I agree, because as I was telling Gia, I've been going through. I had basically a spontaneous Kundalini awakening, but I've been doing a lot of shadow work and basically trying to control the emotional aspect of self, right? And I've been going through like a lot of, it's like back-to-back ego deaths, you know, but I use those as ways to understand self and to transmute that energy. And so I think that makes but I wasn't consciously aware of that being the spark of the Kundalini, the spontaneous Kundalini awakening or rising. You know what I mean? And then as far as that, how do you think it actually moves? Is it something that like starts from the base and goes up, or does it start from the crown and goes down? Because there's different like belief systems. Some people say it's just like depending on whichever chakra.
It starts like from the back up, because one thing, like I said, everything that's connected to the Metatronic overlay is connected to the 3-dimensional paradigm. It's connected to the state. So if you're energetically out of balance because you have a veneration for sex, to where are you spilling all your biological liquids or whatever, you need that your sexual energy as a fuel in order to escape this fermented dome. That's why, you know, as far as like it goes all the way back to the X chromosome, XXX. The reason they do that, because like I said, that the power of the X is connected to the ascension process, where you reap the benefits of that solar transmission, which is those X-class solar flares, because those X-class solar flares has a cymatic frequency that rises up that sexual energy. So like I said, if you drink yourself constantly, you're not going to be reap the benefits of ascension. So like I said, as far as like the Kundalini energy, it does sense at the base of the spine. There's a process in Freemasonry, they call it Jacob's ladder. So when you down the word Jacob, and through etymology, it means supplanter, because he is the one who supplanted a certain demographic of people on this planet, and their chakra system is based on 6 chakras. They don't have the ability to rise up to 7 chakras, because I think it's the 5th chakra, because the 5th chakra is equated to the 33rd vertebrae, where you get the concept of Jesus comes from. So the 33rd vertebrae is connected to the 5th chakra, so they can't activate anything else after the 5th sense. So with carbonated or so-called black people, we're able to tap into that energy because, like I said, we're connected to everything. Carbon is the building block of all civilization. So everything connected to nature, we absorb that same energy. But like I said, still, if you don't have the ability to tap into the frequency of animism to where you can deviate from everything that's pulling on your energy, you won't be able to raise up that Kundalini.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's basically just really just depends on the frequency of the mind too.
Yeah.
Because they know the reason they put all the distractions and everything around us because they know that God is the highest extension of the mind, which uses elements and matter to express itself. So when you're able to express yourself mental level, because you have self-discipline, sexual discipline, dietary discipline, discipline of what you watch and what you read, that's how you tap into that energy.
Yeah. Yep.
But you know what I'm saying? You can't be addicted to sex, addicted to food, addicted to everything around you, and then expect for you to get a Kundalini awakening.
Yeah.
It don't
Agree.
work
And
like
you
that.
know, I agree because I don't. Well, you know, I think that I've been because the first time I had like a Kundalini like experience was a few years ago. So I think that I don't know how long it takes to, you know, I don't know if it just comes in and out or if it's something that just it starts and then it never stops, or do you have to keep it balanced, or like how does that work? Because I know that the first time I experienced something like that was the very beginning of my spiritual journey, and I had a dark night of the soul or an ego death. And I basically woke up at 3:33 and it was like electricity going through my spine. But when I closed my eyes, I can see a purple strand of DNA spinning around. And then,
wow,
yeah, it was crazy. And I went outside, and that was the first time I actually noticed the Sirius star. And I never knew what it was, but I looked it up that night, and I was like, oh, well, I don't know what this is, but I was so attracted to it. But that was the first time I had experienced a Kundalini rising in that way. I just didn't know what it was. But now it's like kind of like coming back or whatever. But now I can feel like the back of my head, like just like a lot of energy.
A lot of pressure around your head, isn't it? It's like,
yeah, and tingling. And then I felt it in the back of my spine too. Like the tingling in the back of my at the in the like at the top of my shoulders and my spine.
That's why we're going through a process right now of frequency warfare. That 5G radiation is is actually used to subjugate that type of energy.
Yeah.
Because like I said, it's kind of like everything is all about frequency too. But since we can only see 10% of the electromagnetic spectrum, you can't see certain frequencies and certain auric fields of certain individuals on the planet. But like I said, everything is all about frequency warfare. They want to subjugate that energy, and they doing it through technology and artificial.
Yeah.
So that's why they want to turn everything into a technocrat system by merging humans with cybernetics. So they got to hit you with these inoculation shots because they know that we're going through this 7-year tribulation period. They know that the Christ energy is coming back. So that nanotechnology, everybody knows anything about nanotechnology, it actually locks down your DNA. It is basically a form of it's a psychotronic cryogenic nanotechnology that subjugates everything that's connected to your epigenetic, because your epigenetic body is connected to the gematria body. So you got 5 different bodies that's connected to the oversoul.
Okay, and then for those who don't know, what is the oversoul exactly?
Oversoul, like the way I look at it, just to simplify, it's the spirit of Melchizedek. It's the etheric body.
Got it. And would you connect? Would you like connect? How do I say this? Like, would you connect? Is there any like you know how like we have the higher self? Is it the high? Is that have anything to do with the oversoul, or do you think that the oversoul is something different from your higher self?
Yeah, well, like from an esoteric aspect, yes, like from according to like what people say and like and commercialized spirituality and stuff, yeah, your higher self is actually the spirit of Melchizedek. That's what it is. It's the etheric body. That's
Got it.
Talking about. It's that green ethereal energy. When they talking about that comets is coming through the atmosphere and things of that nature, that's ether that's coming from the magnetosphere. That's speeding up the frequency of the planet. But it's not a coincidence that when you look at the Schumann resonance spike, it's actually the same color spectrum of ether. So the ethereal energy is connected to the frequency of the soul. So when you're able to to tap into that energy, like I said, you got to be dealing with a place of animism. You got to be operating at 0 point energy.
Yep.
So when you operate at 0 point energy, there is no outside stimulation to compromise your ascension process.
Yes. Yes, I think I've been in isolation, isolation for about 1.5 years now. But I had another question. As far as the Anunnaki, now, are we descendants of the Anunnaki? Or is there like only certain people that are descendants, or are we not descendants at all, and they're just like a whole different?
You got. I tell people all the time, you can't really tell. They say that the great majority of people who have O positive or O negative blood type are on. But
yeah, I've heard that too.
the best way to, if even if you don't want to get into the blood types, you got to look at the perceptional values of what people venerate. You know what I'm saying? You got people who have a veneration for the political system, that propagating Christianity, Catholicism, that propagate everything that's connected to modern day media. Those are the seeds of Enlil, because that's the reason they have a connection to that. Like for us to have this, to speculate and do deep research, find out who's who and what's what, and to go through this evolutionary process of of consciousness and to where we get the edification knowledge to connect with our higher self. That's how you know who's tapped into the seeds of Enlil, who are actually the seeds of the seraphim, which is the good Anunnaki. So that's BDELL.
Okay, understood. Makes sense. Definitely makes sense. I always thought that was a bit broad and general. O positive, O negative. Anybody on this planet could be O positive, O negative. You know what I mean? That was one of the reasons one of the reasons why I really didn't dive deep when it came to that side of knowledge, so to speak, the Anunnakis, because it was so many contradictory things. Once I would say this, and and none of it kind of went together. So I guess my question is, who can we look to? Other than yourself, of course, I already subscribed, but like, who else would you, I guess, suggest? Who do you look up to? Who are you following that we can also, I guess, learn from when it comes to this esoteric knowledge?
Well, I got 2 elders that I speak with. Asir Dukateers is one of my elders. He's a Moorish brother that I connect with, and Rod Hayes.
Okay.
If it don't really, as far as like the information, Dr. Phil Valentine, as far as them 3, that's really like as far as it gets on a to where you can connect with those, because they still living, they're not in jail or locked up or nothing like that. You can still connect with those brothers. So as far as like when you want real edification, those are the guys that you should look to, because Asir, he can connect with you on the socio-political aspect of civics. Dr. Phil Valentine, he can tap into metaphysics and history just as well as Rod Hayes. He can do all 3 of them. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Thank you so much for those recommendations.
And then, do you have actually any classes or anything?
Dr. York, that's who my master teacher is.
Okay,
awesome. Thank you.
Do you have any classes?
Yeah, and also read some of Dr. Noble Drew Ali's publication too.
No, I'm sorry. Repeat it again.
Noble Drew Ali.
Oh, thank you. Okay, awesome.
And then I was wanting to ask you if you had any classes. Do you have any classes, or do you have any books, video, or anything, or you just like strictly YouTube and we can, or you know what I mean?
I'm still kind of young, so I ain't really like tapped into. So like, I'm still on my journey of evolution, because I don't really feel like I'm at that level to be like, I can give my edification of what I know. I could put it on wax and on YouTube or whatever, but I really don't feel like I'm at that level yet to where I can have seminars like Dr. Phil Valentine. Oh yeah, another person, he Santos Bonacci, he's he somehow he found some of my stuff, he put it on his YouTube. That's a person that you need to look at too. He's been doing this for like 30 years. So
awesome.
So Santos Bonacci, he's a supreme astrologer. real deep in metaphysics. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Yes.
Thank
Well,
you.
you should think about it. I think you
Yeah.
should think about it. At least like the basics, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because you carry a lot of information, and to from the outside looking in, it's like
It's a lot.
it's like it's a
It
lot,
is
So
a lot.
I definitely
No,
think you should think about it.
I mean, I could do it now, but I'm not comfortable. I'm not where I want to be at.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? I want
I hear you.
to be like Dr. York level with the information, and I ain't there yet.
Oh man.
Yeah.
You're on your way.
Mhm.
Matter of fact, I don't even know how I found you. I found you on Facebook. I knew I had you as a friend, but I was basically redirected back to your page because I sent you that message. I think it was like in 2019 when Yaki had mentioned you in his video and he wanted to work with you.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean,
Yeah, Yaki, he got good information too. So that's one of the I really trust his information when it comes to dietary systems and stuff like that. So
yeah.
He's a really cool person. I guess what I would want to know is what can we expect next, from you in the coming months, in the next year? Do you have any plans or things that we can expect? Different areas you're going to be tackling or revealing to us or sharing with us. I know that you have oh no, we already covered that, which was I guess the years of tribulation that came out recently, which I thought was really impactful. What other videos can we expect from you?
I didn't hear the last part of your question.
What other videos can we expect from you in the future?
Well, right now I was actually working on a book list video, and I was gonna do a breakdown of the Israel and Palestine, and how it correlates to everything that's taking place. As far as the 7-year tribulation, I was gonna do a breakdown on that, a definitive breakdown. I really like the last video I put out was really touching bases on the inception point of how we got here in the first place. So it's basically like a brief synopsis of the creation story of the Canaanite. So the story in itself, I'm only giving a creation story that goes all the way back 6,000 years to their bloodline.
Mm.
So, and I'm thinking about, I want to do a whole creation story video from all the way from dark matter to physical entities.
That would be,
please do.
Yeah.
Please do. I'm gonna watch it twice.
Yeah, I want to, but it's a lot. It's gonna be a lot. That's like a 5-hour video. So
yeah.
So I want to do one like that, and I'm supposed to be going on Black Magic again pretty soon.
Oh, nice.
I love it. Supposed to be touching bases with 19 Keys for an interview.
Oh,
yeah. So
you talking about? Oh, well, I mean, you said you're not where you want to be, but hey,
I know.
we appreciate what you're doing. It's well needed. And so definitely honor you for sure.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, and another question is, what do you think, or what should we expect to take place during these 7 years of tribulation? And how do we prepare for that?
Well, when you go back to I think it was the 2019 the World Economic Forum conference, they said it was inevitable that we're going to have a grid shutdown. The grid is going to shut down. So it's one of those things where like it's not going to be 20 years from now. We're going to see it in our lifetime, definitely. Okay. So something to prepare for that, prepare for a dollar crash, because it's going to make it into a technocrat system. Prepare for, another psychological operation could take place on American soil that can be far worse than 9/11. So I'm not saying this to be fear mongering. It's one of those things.
Yeah, but it's just things to be prepared for.
Yeah, state of preparation.
Of course.
Got to be very meticulous because they got United Nations military. Some of these people that are coming over and they're acting like they're just foreigners and trying to connect with the land and live here. They're actually United Nations military. So we've been infiltrated on the inside out. So because like Joe Biden, he's funding both sides of the war. He's gave money to Israel, he's gave money to Palestine, and he's also gave money to the Ukrainians. That's the great majority of where our tax dollars go to. So all this, like I said, is brewing up for a psychological operation, because I told you that solar eclipse in itself is the return of the ancestral energy.
So this one coming.
This landmass is in the state of judgment. So those who are walking in righteousness, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You gotta worry about it. Let them do their own thing. You know what I'm saying? Let calamities and everything take place. They're gonna extend their own self out. It's one of those things where you gotta operate from a place of animism and continue on your evolutionary journey. You can't worry about what they're doing. It's all a distraction. But like I said, the land in itself has to come right back to the ones that's connected to the seeds of ink, because we have birthright through nationality. And a lot of people are always asking me about nationality. It's one of those things where you don't even have to go to a Moorish temple to get your nationality, because nationality means that you're connected to the land by birthright and through bloodline. And since everything is reverting back into a matriarchal energy, because patriarchy is what took you out of your sovereign capacity through imperialism and theocracy. So since we're going into the matriarchal energy through birthright, according to the 1848 Supreme Court decision on June 6th, the geographical landmass belongs to the Mers, who are the Native Americans, because it's connected to the 5 civilized tribes, which are the Yamasee, the Choctaw, Wichita, Seminole. So the Mississippians, like all this land, this great majority of this landmass, it belongs to us by birthright. So you don't have to, you know what I'm saying, get a nationality. Nature's your nationality. You know what I'm saying? The post is where you reap the benefits of that land. So you don't have to do nothing. People think you like, what I gotta sign paper? You don't have to do paperwork. There's no paperwork for that. Anybody is telling you to get paperwork to get your nationality until you gotta go down to the go downtown to the Capitol buildings and stuff. They sending you off because they trying to sign you way back to the corporations, because when you sign papers, you signing off of your nature. And when you sign off your nature, that puts you under the jurisdiction of the act of parliament. So that's why so a lot of so a lot of these niggas talking about reparations. A lot of these niggas talking about reparations. Don't listen to them, especially like the celebrities and these pastors and whatever. They are part of the programs, because when you sign those papers and you reap the benefits of reparations and restitutions or whatever, that's putting you right back into the corporate system, because you're basically classifying yourself as an African American, which is a misnomer.
Understood. It makes sense.
So that's why a lot of people are holding on to Pan-Africanism, like Dr. Umar Johnson. He got me thinking he agent provocateur. Because all this information out here, how can you say that everybody came from Africa? That's a lie. You only had about 15% of Africans that actually came from Africa when you're talking about Mansa Musa, when he brought the Mandinka tribe right before the continental drift, when you're talking about the time of Pangea or whatever. So you had about 15% of Africans that came over here, and I think they was doing a lot of trading and things of that nature. But a lot of your Africans or whatever, they, two different bloodlines.
Okay, speaking of that reminds me of the story of Yaqub. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, Yaqub, he was basically a big head scientist. I told you to break down the word Jacob and Yaqub is one of the same. When you look at the word Yaqub, his name means supplanter. And it happened in the book of Genesis. What does Genesis mean? Genesis means the genealogy of Isis. But like I said, way before the time of Yaqub, it used to be women on the planet at first. It was all Nubians. But like I said, it depends on the mythology. Yaqub, some people believe that Yaqub is Yahweh. And some people believe that, the reason I say that is because Yaqub, he's actually the father of the Canaanite race. He's not a good That's why Yaqub, he said, I will create a people that will rule over you for 6,000 years.
Yeah.
The people was the Canaanite. So before you had European Canaanites, you had black Canaanites. And then through that genetical grafting process, that's when he took the black gene and broke it down to the pale gene. And the pale gene is basically your foundation of I forgot what they call it, shaitan, when you're talking about white, wicked, and recessive. So that energy in itself is connected to the Nephilim when they came down. So like I said, Jacob and Yaqub is basically the same. It's the same person.
Same. Got it. And so the Nephilim, is that what you call the Nephilim and the Anunnaki similar?
No, the
beings, or are these two separate?
Nephilim are 200 fallen angels that came down here. All right, look. Yaqub created a certain demographic of Canaanites. That is the cursed seed. When the Nephilim, the reason they're cursed because when the Nephilim came down, the 200 fallen angels, because they went against the of Anu, that's when they made it with the daughters of mankind. There's a delineation between man and mankind. Mankind is the Canaanite. So they came down and made it with mankind, who was the Canaanite, and they put the evil spirit of Lucifer inside these beings. So that's why Canaanite is connected to cannibalism, but through Baal worship. And it was cursed with leprosy. Leprosy is a form of a vampiric disease. Because it's that's where you get the term you ever heard the phrase a man is a dog's best friend?
Yep.
That came from when the Canaanite was in the caves, the K9 used to lick the leprosy spores of the Canaanite. They used to have sex with dogs. Right?
Oh God. Okay.
So all that stuff is connected to, you know what I'm saying, the inception point of a certain demographic of people. So like I said, there's many different mythologies, but a lot of people get lost in translation because you got the 5% nation teaching this, and then you got the Nubian nation teaching that. But like I said, once you get to the inception point of etymology, you can break it all down. Like when you go to the 1180 Strong Concordance, the word Yahweh translates to Bali, who was Baal, who was Moloch.
Well, yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
And Moloch and Baal Enlil Yahweh is Dagon, who is the fish god that's connected to the Vatican. Because they got that edification from the Canaanite, and the Canaanite got that edification from the Nephilim that's connected to Yahweh, who is Enlil, who is Dagon, under Admiralty law. So that's why when Yaqub, he said, I will create a people that will rule over you for 6,000 years. The rulership in itself is based on deception and technology. The technology in itself is connected to Admiralty law, maritime law, political subjugation. That's how they rule over us, because we don't have a nationality. You don't have no sovereign capacity. You don't know who you are. You think you're Christian. You know what I'm saying? You think you whatever. You know what I'm saying? So we're dealing with a lot of self-hate because of the inception point of the Canaanite bloodline that was genetically grafted. And then, like, when it comes to the European, they don't really have an homogeneous origin. So they're basically like a genetic anomaly, because you got Pleiadians, then you got Ugarites, then you got Canaanites, which is under the same umbrella as Edomites. They're the same person. So, but like, I tell like some people, like a lot of Europeans, they ask me like, well, how do I know if you know? But the great majority of people who are running your government and running Hollywood industry, movie industry, all different types of industry, owning businesses and organizations and stuff like that, the great majority of those are your Canaanites.
Okay.
But you still have Canaanites that interbred with Flugarites and Nordics. Who come from Pleiadians. So just like you got bad Anunnaki, you got bad Pleiadians. You got Ashtar Command, who work with the Majestic 12. So that's how you can tell like who's who and what's what. It's just based upon the consciousness.
And then as far as like the Anunnaki, are they also the 24 elders?
Yeah. Those are the 24 elders are basically your personification of the the Riskians.
Okay.
So they got different titles. You got some people call them Riskians, some people call them the Elohim, the Netaru, or the Anunnaki. or the Riskians. It's the same. They come from planet Risk, which is in the 19th galaxy, 8th planet.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then also, like, you know, there's some people say that, well, basically I've heard it a lot, that the Anunnaki will return. Can you explain that to us, or like how that would happen, if it's intended, if it's going to happen?
It depends on how you're looking at it. Like, according to BDELL1014, Revelations 25:17, which is a transliteration of the Book of Revelation. When you get that book, it's a publication by Dr. York. He talks about how when the dome cracks open, because we're actually encapsulated inside of a fermented dome.
Right.
So the two suns that you see in our atmosphere are not the two suns, but the moon is basically dealing with a cymatic frequency that operates on photons, a holographic projection of what's outside of the dome. And then you got the sun, which is basically a superconductor and a buffer of the spiritual sun that's outside of the dome. So the reason I say that is because your spiritual sun is actually planted in Nibiru, and Nibiru is outside of the dome, and it operates through fractions of light. So that's where you get the word angels of light or angles of light. That's where that comes from. So the angles of light is dealing with a cymatic frequency that's penetrating the dome. So when the dome opens up, that's when you're going to see Nibiru, or some people call it the destroyer, some people call it wormwood, and biblical context. That's when you're going to start seeing stuff like that, like the real mothership. So the star Polaris is Nibiru, or the red star Kachina, or the mothership. It's the same thing. And it's basically like a stationary planet that's in the fifth dimension, that's outside of that's outside of the stratosphere, because the heavens is actually the magnetosphere, where you get your term magnetism. I tell people all the time, just like that earthquake that happened in Turkey and Morocco. Every time you have an earthquake, what does it say? Magnitude of what? 6.8.
Yeah.
Magnitude, because that's how you know that spiritual energy is transmuted from the heavens to the physical realm.
Yes.
Magneto.
I was listening to I forgot one of your videos, you were explaining that.
So it's basically, that's what it's talking about. So that's where that energy's coming from. So it tells you in I forgot what verse it was in the Bible, because that's that thing about the Bible. When people get into spirituality, but I ain't fucking with that Bible. No, you need it. You need it. Just like Noble Drew Ali, he said you need the Bible, because in the end times you're gonna have to condemn the European with it. So the Bible itself is a esoteric Freemasonic playbook of what's going to be taking place. It's a contract. It's a contract on the end of the 6,000 years, and the 6,000 years ends in 2024. So you got to get an 1813 Freemasonic Apocryphal Bible. It tells you that the 6,000 years ends in 2024. It doesn't tell you that verbatim, but it's basically telling you that the year, when you break it all down, the year of 2023 is actually 5,999.
Yeah, I just saw that. I think I saw it in either your video or one of your posts on Instagram. But yeah, I did see that, and I was like, I gotta look this up. This is interesting.
Let me show y'all y'all Instagram, so I can follow y'all on Instagram too.
Okay.
Okay.
I think you
might
have already followed me.
Okay. I think I see your stuff on there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what's taking place right now. So we are definitely in that tribulation period right now, because it's it's basically like a fifth dimensional chess game that's taking place.
Yeah.
You just had Queen just died last year. You know what I'm saying? That's the most important chess piece on the game. You know what I'm saying? The chess piece on the board, So as soon as she died, that's when they talking about all the stock market crashing. We having troubles with the dollar, the U.S. currency, whatever. And then, when Joe Biden, when something happens to him, that's when, really the house of cards is going to fall down. But it could, but it depends though, because I know that, a lot of people have an emotional connection to Black people in office, and so if Kamala Harris get in there, that's when they gonna put niggas right back to sleep again. And they gonna be like, look, Kamala Harris. I said, If only if they did their research, they didn't know what type of energy, what type of time she on, because she really working for the Vatican.
Yeah,
she's
not on us. Not for us. She's not for us.
No. Anybody
who
knows anything about, like, the political system and how it's connected to the religion and the Vatican Church or whatever through the ecclesiastical law, you will know that these black politicians are selling you out. Easy.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
it's like,
they always make. That's why Democrats, they always get black celebrities to tell you to go vote.
Yeah.
You break down the word democracy. It means demonic rulership. Krasi is a subject of the word kratos, and kratos is chronology. And chronology meaning that it's connected to the veneration of the cube of Saturn. So it's really a form of spiritual entrapment.
Yeah, because Saturn is the restriction as well. Yep.
So that's what it's. So that's why they always say, "Oh, vote Democrat." Because I tell people all this all the time. We learned this shit when we was in first grade, when you was saying the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yeah,
that's true. Major facts.
It says to the Republic. It doesn't say to the democracy.
Yeah.
Such thing as democracy.
Yeah.
It's under a fictitious system.
Yeah.
It's a de facto corporation. That's your shadow government. Yeah. Democracy is. So that's so democracy in itself is being galvanized by Canaanites.
Yeah.
So when you vote Democrat, you might as well say vote for the damn devil. That's what you basically say. If you want to be.
I mean, I think that's, I don't know about everybody else. I think that's kind of clear. When you look at where we are right now and look at which party is responsible primarily for where we are right now, for this idea that you can now tell me I'm not a woman, I have to identify as something else, and you get to be called a woman, though, and respected as a woman. All these delusions, which party is really responsible? And it's the Democrats, to be quite honest with you, for the most part. So it makes sense.
Parenthood,
yeah.
Eugenics, the KKK, Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
Oh,
LGBT.
Yes.
Don't even get me started.
Comes from the Democrats.
Yeah. And then, if we just learned to have some goddamn emotional intelligence, we wouldn't be pulled all over every which way. You know what I'm saying? Like, I tell all the time, like, everybody was going hooting and hollering for Biden, and he didn't do not one thing for you, and ain't nobody said anything since. I'm like, y'all should be ranting and raving, like, stick to your word. But everybody just went right about their business and went back to, their false reality. And I'm like, and then you got to understand, too, your vote doesn't even count.
Yeah. No,
you don't make the vote. It's you have nothing to do with it. They're giving you a false. Yeah, they're giving you, like, here you go.
No,
here's some toys so that you can pretend like you're playing along with the big dogs, but you're not. Like, you got some type of control over this, but you don't.
I'm gonna tell you something about vote, because every time that you vote, you know what I'm saying, it puts you under the jurisdiction.
Exactly.
When it puts you under that jurisdiction, when you go to the federal laws and civil procedures. So when you vote, that connects you right back to the 14th Amendment. So when you participate in fraud, when you participate in fraud, you can't claim injury to the system. So this is why voted. That's why a person can go inside a European, he can go in a mall and kill all the black people in Foot Locker buying Jordans, and he'll get with it. You see what I'm saying? You feel like that you participating in fraud, no nationality. That's why he's able to get off on. But like I said, if you know who you are and you deviate from the system. But the best way to deviate from the system in general is when people get a sovereign affidavit of nativity, and that's when you start having home births. So like I said, that's how you know the conception point of it starts with a matriarch. So when they got to start getting doulas and start having their children at home. So when that's how you get out of the matrix in totality. That's how you get that. Because when you have
I still don't know how that works. Like, I know that if I was to ever have another child, I would want to do it that way. But aren't you still required to do the whole birth certificate thing? Aren't you still required?
No, you gotta have a person. It's either a person records it and they record it as a deed when they record it, it becomes a deed in a title. to where you don't have to get a birth certificate because you got it on record. That's why some women, when they have home births, they put it on Facebook Live.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow. Okay, so what happens, like, if you already have a birth certificate? How do you give it back?
That's a long process.
You gotta you gotta sign adhesion contracts. So when you sign adhesion contracts, that basically dismantles you from all the things that you signed over your nature to the system. Because anytime you have a signature or something, you actually commit sin against God or the Most High.
Okay, so another question that I have is like about
Yeah, so
got me.
that's what a signature is. You signing over your nature,
Yeah.
and your nature, who you are energetically, and is connected to your oversoul. You basically selling your soul every time you sign a signature for stuff. That's
God is good.
why I tell people, anybody who's in the music industry or want to do music and you on the brink of about to blow up, when you get a contract, cross out the word artist and put creator. So when you put, because artist means that you're going to be under the jurisdiction under the act of parliament. Because your artistry is going to be usurped by the lawyers.
Yeah.
Because the lawyers are basically prostitutes for the bar association, which is also connected to the Vatican and ecclesiastical law. So, like I said, like that's how they usurp it. They use word magic. Everything that's connected to the system is a form of word magic and black magic.
Yeah.
You don't understand the etymology of certain words. That's where they get you.
Yeah.
So
there's a lack of
if
knowledge.
you do music, if you paint, do not call yourself an artist. Call yourself a creator. You're a creator. Because when you call yourself a creator, that gives you autonomy over your work, and that's how you protect your. That's how you protect your intellectual property, basically.
Got it. So what about your Strauman? Like your how do I say it? Like, you know how they say that for one, our social security is like a bank account, you know, or that if you like write your name in capital letters, it's a whole different entity than writing your name in lowercase letters, which I've tried this out. It's, you know, I've seen some things work with that stuff. But if you can explain it or whatever you know regarding that, I would love to hear.
Yeah, you got, so the straw man in itself, like I said, is connected to the 14th Amendment, which is a fraudulent contract. So your straw man is also connected to a Federal Reserve System that works in symbiotic connection with the Vatican, because the Vatican, that's where you get your birth certificates, because the Vatican puts incantations on those birth certificates and your social security number. So the straw man in itself is connected to a number that's connected to the matrix system. That's where you get your term matrix, because you're a number. So your social security, on the back of it, or your birth certificate or marriage certificate, there's a QSIP number. And the QSIP means Community Uniform Security Identification Procedure. And on the back of that QSIP number, it has trade derivatives and debt obligations that's connected to Wall Street. So you're being traded. So that's your fictitious self is being traded on Wall Street.
Right.
Basically. Yeah. And it's coming from coming from your trust. That's where all the money is at. So that's why when you get a Federal Reserve note, when you get a dollar bill, you actually put negative equity. Like when you pay something with like fiat currency, that creates negative equity. That's why we $33 trillion in debt. Yeah, go ahead and get it.
We are, yeah.
So now that's where, like you said at the bottom, we become humanoid real estate. So when we humanoid real estate and we $33 trillion in debt, that's when the United Nations have to come up with a concept that works in symbiotic connection with the FEMA camp and the World Economic Forum, where they have to kill off for collateral in order to suspend the debt. So that's why a lot of people don't understand what the population agenda is really all about. Yeah. It's really about killing a lot of people off to basically suspend the debt. Because the stock market crashed in 1929, that's when they implemented Social Security right after that. Because the money wasn't backed by a natural resource. So when the money's not backed by a natural resource, we become the currency. So
got it.
we got to clock in to work. You clock in per day, per diem. somebody's getting paid on Wall Street, right?
Uh-huh.
So somebody's getting paid on Wall Street. Like I said, that's because they everything is based off our labor. We the currency.
Yeah.
So now, since we $33 trillion in debt to the international banking system and the international monetary funding system, now they got to connect with the United Nations and the FEMA to where they got to exterminate people in order to suspend the debt. So that's what the population is all about.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. Ding, ding, ding.
So that's what
No.
so that's what so that's why the Democrats though they get your favorite celebrity, they get the sexy red. Hey, sexy red, come over here, tell these girls to go vote.
Yeah.
They gonna do it. They gonna do it.
Yeah. No, you're right. They get LeBron James and everybody else, you know, and
Like
just,
I see through. So I mean, you can read the energy of the celebrities like LeBron James and Drake. Like they got the fakest energy.
Oh yeah, it's just crazy to me how
fake.
people just fall for it. Like, you know, and then even just like with things in general, like most stuff is so fake that I'm just like, how can people not see this? Like it's just like it blows my mind. But you know, that's the real zombies are us to an extent. You know, The Walking Dead.
Like anybody, like I tell people, just going forward, do not listen to these black politicians. No black council members. Don't listen to no black celebrities. Just like what's his face? Don't listen to your black religious leaders. Don't listen to them.
Oh yeah, matter of fact,
they ain't gonna lead you right back to the democratic order.
Was it Young Pharaoh that you were talking about?
You said who?
Young Pharaoh.
What about it?
I know that I was watching your story a few days ago. Was it your story or was it, what was it on? That you said that, was it you that said he was an agent or could he?
Some girl in from Buffalo had put that out. Yeah.
Which I don't.
I said everything is said, but it said that he's connected to, his family is connected to all Freemasons all throughout Buffalo. And they said that his family has something to do with that black man who created, he created some invention where he can use water to fuel cars, something like that.
Oh yeah, what was it? He used water to make like for the cars.
Yeah.
Was it for the
That was like
I remember that.
Time left. Was it? I don't remember. But yeah, I remember that story.
Yeah, I remember that. Wow. Okay. Well, I have one more question though. As far as this eclipse that's coming, what do you think, and on an energetic level or even metaphysical, what can we expect to take place or during this eclipse?
Well, I mean, being Libra, you know, it's really just based on the scales of justice. It's really going to be balancing out the energy. So it's going through a transmutation process. Like I said, everything is all about operating through cycles.
Yeah.
Everything on the planet operates on a frequency of cycles, and the frequency of cycles operates on the cosmic pendulum of karma.
Yeah.
So what goes comes around. So this eclipse that's coming in, that's going to be the eclipse that's based on judgment. It's going to be the inception point, and it's going to put an X over the point. And the X in itself is a representation of the divine feminine energy. It's a matriarchal symbol. Yeah. So a certain demographic of people have to go through a state of judgment to where the matriarch has to take back the land. So that's what that's talking about.
Understood.
Thank you so much, Brida. I really enjoyed speaking to you, and I do hope. I know you say you're not ready, but I do hope you do hold some class.
Please do. We need that.
I want a class or two. Just a class or two to start.
Just at least a day, just for one day.
There's so much information. It's just like I would love to sit down, take notes, and really, get the basics down so that I can further go into, more understanding and more knowledge. So I hope you consider it.
Yeah, we can definitely start doing this a lot more, man. It really just depends on my schedule because I work a lot and full time.
Understood.
On top of that, that, I try to make my own content, and I got find time for myself and things of that nature. Do you guys got YouTubes or whatever? We could
Yes.
Yes, we do.
I'm working on it. We do. Yes, we will have that up so we can.
And that way, like, some of the people that's on my channel can come to your channel if y'all make a YouTube. So
awesome.
Yeah.
It's in the works. It's in the works.
It's already up. We just have to get some other stuff, but I'll let you know, and then we can collaborate again, because I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
no, I appreciate it.
Definitely.
Absolutely. Well, again, you guys, if you guys don't know who he is, you guys do now. Make sure you guys follow him on YouTube, his Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. Thank you so much for joining us and just, putting us on game, because I'm telling you, we out here getting bamboozled left and right.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. It's
Yeah.
a lot. There's a lot of stuff happened this week, you know what I'm saying, just in general. So yeah. So
but again, thank you.
I'm gonna message y'all so I can. Well, I don't think I got her on Instagram at the bottom.
I'm actually gonna message you as soon as we get off.
Okay.
I have you open, so I'll just hit send a message, be like, hey, it's me.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave your information in the comments for those who want to know. I'm gonna put the Instagram, the Facebook, everything in the YouTube in the comments as well too. So so you guys can definitely check them out.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Always. Thank you so much. And again, thank you guys for tapping in with us. We shall see you guys next time.
All right.
Bye, guys.